Okay, so far we know how to collect the user's input, but suppose we want to do something with that inputs, like provide a greeting, okay? So let's say the user enters their name. You want to say hello and then the name of the person. So something like this where we're combining some type of text to our variable. So let's talk about combining text to variables, okay? So in Python, there are two main ways to combine some text with variables, and I'm going to show you both ways, and then you can choose whichever one you feel more comfortable with. So before I explain what I'm doing here, I'm just going to run my code so that you can see the output. So as you can see, both of the print statements display the same output. Previous was introduction, current is variables. Now let me explain exactly what is happening here. So in our first print statement here, we're essentially combining our text to our variables using the plus sign. So we're putting our text in quotes, just like this, and our variables, we make sure that we don't put in quotes. Because if we put these variables in quotes, it's no longer going to be interpreted as a variable. It's going to be interpreted as some text. So here, we're just saying previous was, and then the variable sec1, which in this case is introduction. And then current is, and then we add the variable sec2, which in that case is variables. So the second method over here, instead of using the plus to join the text to the variables, we're using these brackets over here to indicate where the variables are. So anywhere you see these open and close brackets is going to be interpreted as a variable. And you might think we have some type of typo here. This F right here is actually very important. When we put an F in front of the quotes, we're indicated that this right here is a formatted text, meaning that we should expect to see something like this where we're surrounding the variables in brackets. So just to show you what I mean, if I remove the F from here and I run my code, it will just display this text as is. It's not going to interpret it into a variable. So the F here is important for our formatted text. So when I put the F back, now you can see it's displayed like it should. So let's make some modifications here, okay? So in this case, let's say I want to say previous was, and then whatever the previous section we learned, comma, and then current is the current section that we're on. So I'll just put the comma here. And for this formatted text, all I just need to do is put the comma right here. So now if I run my code, you can see previous was introduction, comma, current is variables, and then the same for the other one. Now, suppose you want to modify this section 2 variable here, and instead of putting some type of text value, we want to use the user's input instead. And we're going to ask the user what is the current section. So now whatever the user enters is what will be displayed as our section 2 or our sec2 variable. So let's run our code. And this time, just to make things more interesting, I'm going to use variable with some exclamations. And I enter my input. And now as you can see, we've combined our text with are inputs. Whatever I entered as my input is what is displayed as what the current is, which in this case is variables. Okay, so I've showed you two different ways of combining variables with text. It's up to you to use whichever one you feel more comfortable with.